Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, cheers. Oh, hey, Bayek. Thanks very much, Stephen. Thanks very much, everybody. It's been an absolute blast. Okay. What's going to happen now? I'm going to move over here, okay, and then we'll see. Oh, we're on? Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to, I was going to write a speech which gave a list of achievements in chronological order, how I started and how I finished, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you some stories of my time with Endress & Hauser, which I think you'll enjoy. Some are scary, some are funny, some are interesting. But when I told my mum and dad that I was retiring, my mum said, "Oh, I found something of yours." And I left school at 16 as an apprentice, to be an apprentice at Shell Chemicals UK. And that was in 1978. In 1982, I came out of my time, and there was a photograph in The Scene, which is the Shell Chemicals newsletter. And there I am at the age of 20. And I looked at it and I went, well, look at that. Shell Chemicals UK. So joint venture company takes SC UK. Shell Chemicals UK is known as SC UK. I started at the age of 16 in SC UK, and I ended at the age of 56 in SC UK. How fantastic is that? Yeah. So I just thought I'd share that with you. Right. Now, the thing is, normally I wing these things, but I thought, I don't want to do that now because we'll be here and wishing each other Happy New Year. So what I'll do is I'll refer to my notes. So I'd like to start my speech by saying that life is an adventure or it's nothing. And my life within Endress & Hauser has been one heck of an adventure. In fact, it's like a bucket list of things to do before you retire. When I was offered the job to join Endress & Hauser, I was working in the UAE, Abu Dhabi, in fact. The strange thing is that when most people think of the UAE, they think of Dubai rather than Abu Dhabi. But people in Dubai don't watch the Flintstones, but those in Abu Dhabi do. Thank you, Ben. I promise there's no more jokes there. I was going to tell Kirill, there was a Russian guy in on Wednesday. He's our country manager for service, and he's a Russian guy. I was going to say to him, Kirill, I love Russia. I said, but I don't like them Russian dolls. They're just so full of themselves. Hello? Because that wasn't a scripted one. So anyway, so I got the job in Endress & Hauser, Manchester here, and I flew back to the UK to start my new job on the 11th of September 2001. That's not when I started the new job, that's when I flew back from Abu Dhabi, or at least I tried to. Many people can remember where they were when the terrorist attacks happened, and I definitely can, because I was stuck in an Abu Dhabi airport in an airport lockdown. So I thought, this is a sign of things to come. So my first trip overseas in my role as export sales manager for tank gauging was to Iran, and that was soon to be known as the Axis of Evil. I went along with Urs Endress, MD of SC France at the time, and Reinhold Bietzke, who was the global oil and gas manager. When we arrived in Tehran and were on the way to the hotel, Urs said to the driver, who luckily spoke English, you are quite privileged this evening to have someone from Switzerland, Germany and Britain in your cab." The cab driver said, "The Swiss and German, most welcome, British, never." So apparently they blame us for the Islamic Revolution, and so I was not looking forward to that trip. However, I told this story to the general manager of the Tehran refinery, and he said, "What did the Germans and Swiss know about oil and gas? Our plants were made by British engineers, and you are most welcome." So I felt a lot better, and I visited Iran 14 times over the next years and was treated like a VIP on every trip, so that was nice. Then there was the time when I was traveling to the west coast of Saudi to do a site survey on a desalination plant. We stayed overnight in a town called Abba. At 8 in the morning, I was having breakfast on the top floor of the hotel with our sales manager, Mohammed Abdallah, who's now the MD of SC Arabia. We looked down on a parade ground and saw a crowd gathering. There were also armed police and an ambulance. The next thing that out of the ambulance, a man was taken out and tied to a post in front of some sandbags. The next thing that happened was quite surreal, because one of the armed policemen got into a position about 10 meters in front of the man and then shot him. I had just witnessed a public execution. The hotel staff knew about it and told us that he had shot and killed his family, but his son escaped and called the police. In Saudi, the punishment is still an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So that was pretty scary. Yeah, so that's an interesting moment for me. And some of you will remember, actually, when I had an armed police escort to travel along the federal highway from Port Harcourt to Eket in Nigeria. When we got to Eket, my bodyguard left us to go and visit his auntie while we went to the refinery. In that short gap, we were accosted by local bandits, but the situation was diffused when they discovered I was not a wealthy businessman, but a visiting pastor from Manchester on a missionary work and was only visiting a friend. The bluff was backed up by me wearing a hastily made dog collar from a folded piece of A4 paper. Oh dear. And if that wasn't enough. From that trip to Nigeria, the following week I flew to Amman in Jordan, where I was to stay in the Hyatt Regency Hotel, which had just had its restaurant blown up in a terrorist attack. I called the hotel and they said that they would be open for business when I arrived. I went, and for sure it was the most secure place to be in Jordan. Security was extremely high. While I was there, I was confined to the hotel, and I wanted to have my hair cut. Normally, I would go to a local barber's, and it would be around £3 for a machine cut. But as it was not possible to leave the hotel, I decided to splash out and use the hotel hairdressing salon. I couldn't find it, and when I asked a hotel worker where the hairdresser was, he had no idea what I wanted, until I said, "A hairdresser, you know, a barber." His eyes lit up and he beckoned me to follow him. We went to the mezzanine floor to the hotel management offices and into the duty manager's office. There behind the desk was a surprised-looking lady who stood up and said, "Hello, can I help you? My name is Barbara." I submitted that story to the Reader's Digest and I got a £50 cheque when it was published. Nice, huh? On a different trip to Jordan, I finished early on the last day of my trip, and our agent, Kader Nijmer, treated me to a visit to the Movenpick Resort on the Dead Sea. So I'm swimming on top of the Dead Sea because you can't actually get in the water, you know, it's like swimming on the floor, you know. So I was unable to sink. And I decided, I decided to jump off a wooden pontoon into the Dead Sea, like feet first, and I wanted to pop up like a cork, you know. So that was the idea. But Kader, he pleaded with me not to do it because he said it was too dangerous. I thought, how can it be too dangerous? I'm just going to pop up. You can't sink, you know. But I went gung-ho and jumped in. I must have popped up like a cork, but I don't remember because I was in excruciating pain. The sea is 10 times saltier than the normal sea, and this went up my nose like sulfuric acid, and my eyes were on fire. Luckily, there was freshwater showers on the shore, which eventually sorted me out. Well, I won't do that again. And so using that story, I passed the audition for the Weakest Link. But unfortunately, when I was called up, I was in Qatar, and so I lost my place to the next one on the list. So I nearly had my 15 minutes of fame. Huh? Oh, dear. So some of the stories. And I got hundreds like this, but not tonight. During my travels, I filled up 3 passports with stamps and visas before they actually expired, before the first one even expired. I traveled to 30 countries. Of those 30 countries, 22 were on Henderson Hauser Business. That was amazing. Now, I'd like to thank everyone for making these incredible adventures possible. My colleagues who supported me, and my inspirational management who believed in me, and of course my family who also supported me and had to cope with me being away from home for 10 years. It was a huge sacrifice. This is where it gets tricky. I'd also like to give a special mention to my colleagues and friends in service. This made coming back to the UK the best posting by far. Service is our future and our rising star. I had road trips with Alan which were never a bore, to wineries and distilleries. Who could ask for much more? Ooh, I feel a song coming on. Right, not just yet. Don't eat. Right. Actually, I did realise a dream to be a stand-up comedian for a day when I performed at Hans Peter's retirement, and also, of course, at the Christmas lunch raffles. But there is one last adventure in E&H left for me to do, and that is to form and be part of our own works band. And today that dream has come true. let me introduce you to Rocking Automation.
So what I'd like to do now is introduce you to the band. So let's give it up for the man whose fingers were burning up the fretboard, giving Eric Clapton a run for his money, Chris the Axe Amelia. We have Harley in our instruments, but keeping the beat for us and never missing a beat is our very own drummer, Ben Levy. And giving us the groove is Martin. It's all about the bass, about the bass, about the bass. It's all about the bass. Goulet. And then there's me. And in my secret circles, I'm known as Joe Super. Let's see if I can get this right.
That's it from me. Hang on. So we're not over yet, don't worry. Now, because I'm so widely travelled and have lots of experiences, Stephen asked me if in my speech I could impart some wise words to help you on your journeys. And well, I thought about it, and yes, I can. I think I can provide some words of wisdom to guide you through a deal or no deal Brexit. I can advise you on how to meet our target on sales of service and what to do if your team is having problems. You see, some things in life are bad. They can really make you mad, like customers who like to moan and whinge when you're chewing on life's gristle. Don't grumble, give a whistle, and this'll help things turn out for the best. And always look on the right side of life. Always look on the right side of life. When your team is in a muddle, all you need to do is huddle and think the bleed is bound to make you sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just push your lips and whistle, that's the thing. And always look on the right side of life. Always look on the right side of life. If sales or service are down, there's no need to wear a frown. When you complain, we'll give us leads to all. Focus on the customer journey, feel empowered and feel worthy, and soon we'll reach our target, that's for sure. And always look on the right side of life. Always look on the right side of life. If Brexit makes you shiver, don't be all a quiver. To get some more new cheese. If sterling takes a hit, we won't stay at home and live, 'cause Roger Stone will bail us out with ease. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. And always look on the no more worries about Brexit. Now then, I just want to explain something to you. When I knew I was going to have to do a retirement speech, I thought, you know, they'll be expecting the guitar and a poem or something. So I thought, you know, I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory. So, and I saw on the CNTV, you know, these musicians available for hire at a very cheap rate. So I approached them individually and I said, what do you reckon to this idea of performing at my retirement? And they were just amazed. Yes, fantastic. They were so excited. It was really, really brilliant. But actually, to get us together and do something and rehearse, it was very, very difficult. So we rehearsed 4 times. And we snuck out of the office on a Friday morning, with permission from their bosses, I must say. And we went to the Masonic Hall on Clay Lane, and we had an hour. But that hour was made up of getting there, 15 minutes to set up, half an hour to play, 15 minutes setting back down, and then getting back. So we only practiced for half an hour each session, and we had 4 sessions, so that's 2 hours of practice. So I think they've done absolutely brilliant, and they couldn't play these songs before we started. So the hard work that they've done to get to this point at home is brilliant. So I just want to take this chance. Thank you very much. Now then, just let me get ready. Oh! Yeah, my end's always falling off. There we go. Right.
Endless Hauser.
Right, sorry, right. Prior preparation and, what is it? Thingy, prevents doodah, and turn it on. That was what I didn't do last time. There we go. Switch on, and in we go. Oh dear. Oh, it'll be all right. Yep. So.
What is your favourite trousers?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is actually an anthem for Endressonhauser. It's played at exhibitions, or it used to be anyway. I remember it being played at exhibitions like the Hanover Messe or the Hanover Fair. And also it used to be featured as a telephone hold music. Yeah? So when you were put on hold, this music was played. And we want to dedicate this one to you guys. And the reason is, it's because you are simply the best.
Give
Fantastic, eh? Now, I just had an awful thought. When I introduced the band, did I forget? Don't tell her, eh? What do you do? Don't mention it. But with the voice of an angel, looking at an angel, looking like an angel, Angela Cook. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God. Oh, sorry about that. Forgive me. Okay, well, we've now come to the end of our little show, and there's only one song that we could end on at Christmas time. Okay, what do you reckon it is? Well, you'll find out shortly. When you're ready.
That was absolutely fantastic.